some videos to play to you guys, but as usual, these things, we have technical issues, so of course the videos aren't playing. I'm just going to describe what's going on in this video, so if you can picture it and imagine what's going on, I'll just tell you. So in this video, it's of my sister Josephine on her third and last birthday, and the sound of this video is everybody singing happy birthday to her and her just absolutely loving it. So birthdays were always a massive deal in my household because of Josephine, and as I said, this was her on her third and final birthday, and I'm up here to talk to you about her life, how she inspired me and how she also inspired hundreds of other people. So when I was 3 years old, my parents discovered that they were expecting a baby, and at one of their scans, they were informed that their child had a very rare and serious condition called Patau syndrome. So most people won't have heard of Patau syndrome, but it's basically a chromosomal abnormality in which some of the body cells contain extra genetic materials, and these materials disrupt normal development, causing multiple and complex organ defects. So the lifespan for children who are lucky enough to be born with this disability, as most don't make it to birth, is normally a few hours to a few days after they're born. So these so-called healthcare professionals, they kind of put the rhetoric in my parents' head, why go through the pregnancy when the child's just going to die anyway? Why go through the pain of childbirth when you don't even know if your child's going to be born alive? Bringing a child like this is really selfish, actually, to bring a child like this into the world, and it won't even have a good quality of life. So not only was my mother hormonal from the pregnancy, but she had just discovered that her child had a very serious disability, and at her most vulnerable time, these so-called professionals exploited her, and they exploited my sister, who was also at her most vulnerable time, and they threatened to kill my parents' child. That's the black and white of it. So my amazing dad obviously stepped up and he supported my mum, and that's how they got involved with the SPUC, because they needed some support, as everybody in the medical industry was very, very negative and really, really pushing for my parents to abort. So despite their efforts, my sister Josephine was born on May the 15th, 2001, and she weighed 6 pounds, 6 ounces. She defied the odds and she lived past her suspected lifespan, so she lived on past a couple of days. She was partially blind. She had a cleft lip and palate, which she got surgery on. She couldn't walk, she couldn't talk, she couldn't eat. She was fed through a tube in her nose for the first couple of years, couple of months of her life. There's some pictures up there as well, she was super cute. She then received an operation so that she could be fed through her stomach. So they cut a hole into her stomach and they fed her through a tube there. And finally, she had 6 very, very cute fingers and toes. And one of my best memories from growing up was going shoe shopping with her, because we always had to ask for extra wide fit shoes. And the people in the shoe shop were always like a bit shocked when they saw that she had 6 toes. So none of those things defined Josephine. What defined Josephine was her. She went to a special needs nursery and she made lots of friends, and the people that were looking after her absolutely adored her. She was such a happy, beautiful child. And to say that she's the happiest child I've ever met is probably an understatement. I can't actually stress enough how happy she was. All she wanted was attention, just like me. She brought endless amounts of love, joy, light, laughter into my life and the lives of everyone she met. Everyone. We'd go out places, shopping centres, to church, to all these different things. And the amount of people that would come over and would be inspired by her was just amazing to see. And growing up, it's kind of cool that I had that perspective on what disabled people with special needs can actually bring to the world. So on May the 5th, 2005, a day after my brother Lewis, who's actually here today, he turned 1 on May the 4th. Not this year, like back in 2001. And my brother Austin was born on April the 29th. So a week after Austin was born, a day after Lewis had his first birthday, Josephine passed away in the arms of my mum, who sang her to her eternal rest. And I remember at her funeral, there were hundreds and hundreds of people there, like four amounts of people that are now, 4 times the amount of people now. Anyway, and I remember being like absolutely shocked at how many people there, and I asked my mum and my dad, like, who is everyone? And my mum and dad didn't even know, but they explained to me that everyone that went there to the funeral had been touched and inspired by Josephine at different points of their lives for different reasons. So I think with people who have special needs, they're often very much an inspiration to other people who are struggling, who are suffering, and they really make them come down to earth and see the reality of things. And I look back and I think about my life and what my outlook on life would be like if she hadn't been given her right to life, and it would be very different, and I probably wouldn't be doing what I do today. So as you can imagine, in my teenage years, I was surrounded by the media and people and colleagues who would constantly say stuff along the lines of basically people like my sister didn't deserve even a chance at life, that they were better off dead. And I found out as well that in this country, children with suspected disabilities can be aborted up to the minute before they're born, just for being disabled. And Down syndrome children, actually 9 out of 10 of them who are diagnosed with Down syndrome in the womb are exterminated and killed simply for having one extra chromosome. So for every Down syndrome person you know or that you've seen, they're a lucky 1 in 10. And that's shocking that we're living in a culture that's doing this to people, systematically targeting and exterminating vulnerable people in the womb. So that kind of made me think, is this kind of society that I want to be part of? One that's targeting and exterminating the most vulnerable and innocent of the human family, one that is exploiting women and their families, and one that is killing and wounding. So basically, we need to take action, and it is up to every single person in this room to decide who you're going to be and what memory you're going to leave behind. Are you going to be one of those lame people that show up to this conference once a year and tick it off as, oh, that's my pro-life work done for the year? Or are you going to be one of those lazy people that show up to this event and a couple of other organised events and then think, oh yeah, I've done enough? Or are you going to take this seriously, and are you going to take this message and implement it into every single aspect of your daily life? Because we all need to wake up. Children are literally being slaughtered down the road from us, and we need to ask ourselves, what are we doing about it? Because if you think about every other human rights injustice that's taken place in the world, the Holocaust, the slave movement, all of that, whatever you think you'd be doing in that time, you need to be doing now. Because this is worse than that. And it's 10 times worse than that. So get involved, organise events. If you don't feel like you're a leader, you need to identify a leader and support them and help them to start organising events and leading this movement like we should be. You need to leave helpline cards in the bathrooms. Get some cards from Arch. Leave them everywhere. I leave them in Costa tables. I give them to people. Hi, do you want this? I leave them everywhere I go. And I always have a stash in my pocket in case I'm talking to somebody and I disclose what I do and they tell me about their abortion experience. You need to mention your activities to your friends, your colleagues, and you need to encourage them to come to stuff like this with you, even if they're unsure. They won't be by the end of stuff like this, I'm telling you. You need to share content on social media. It is so important to do it. It's so easy. We're living in a world where it's just one click away from influencing other people. And I know it seems like it's a losing battle on social media, but it's really, really not, because the amount of people that I have changed their minds on this issue through the power of social media is insane. And I don't think people understand how powerful it can be and how much we need to use it, own it, and make the most of it, because it's so, so, so easy. So you have no excuses, and you need to do something, because until every single person in this room becomes an active anti-abortion activist who's actually doing stuff in their daily lives, then women are never going to stop being hurt, and children are never going to stop being killed. So I hope you've all been sufficiently inspired, and if not, you need to get a grip, get out there, feel the fear, do it anyway. And all Josephine ever wanted was love, kisses, cuddles, and kindness. And I hope, sorry, I should have been pressing this going on, but I'm just going to be a little real now. And I hope today that she'll inspire you the way she inspired me and so many others. And you've all had such an amazing chance to come here and be educated, inspired, and empowered by such wonderful, wonderful speakers. And so if you don't do anything with it now, it's a bit dumb. So thanks, guys.